of course, we can't be talking about Taylor Swift the whole time without bringing up the second most annoying female artist on the planet, Jojo Siwa. We can't get rid of her. I have one more. This is it. I'm done now. I'm done. I'm done with the with the interviews. I'm done with her on my algorithm. I want nothing more than to do with this person than I have to. I don't want to have to continuously keep talking about Jojo Siwa. She's a bad person. I was just talking to her with my personal hairstylist who gave me this banging ass haircut. If you don't have a personal stylist, it's fine. You can probably get a haircut like this mediocre somewhere else, but get yourself a personal stylist. Shout out to Lydia. She said that she bought Jojo Siwa concert tickets somewhere in the realm of 2020, 2021. And Jojo canceled the show. Never got rescheduled, never got refunded, never got the money back, never saw anything, never got like ticket vouchers from Ticketmaster, nothing. Jojo Siwa took the money and ran. And I mean, we're talking a couple $100 a ticket here. Like it's, Jojo Siwa, you're going to pay whatever you want for Nickelodeon's Sweetheart Princess for your daughter to see her in concert. So we already don't like Jojo Siwa, okay? And so then in walks Brit Smith. And what Brit Smith has done has exposed exactly what the music industry has been doing for the last 100+ years. Except now we have things like TikTok, and it's easier to break down and explain with situations like Jojo Siwa versus Brit Smith. So up until this point in your life, you yourself listening to this right now, no matter where it's at, in the car, on the phone, YouTube, audio, video, wherever you're watching this, you have never, most likely up until maybe 48 hours ago, have never heard the name Brit Smith. This might be the very first time you've heard the name Brit Smith. And for those of you like, wow, who's Brit Smith? I'm going to tell you. Brit Smith was a female pop artist from 2012 that was signed to the same record label that does music with current pop artists today and works with writers and people all around the world and different things, and potentially some of the same people that work with Jojo Siwa. We'll get to her in a minute. So Brit Smith in 2012 gets the opportunity to have this song written for her and taken care of and produced. All she has to do is go record it, and they're going to release it, and it's going to be the Brit Smith single, and it's going to be Karma's a Bitch. And she did it. She released a music video, but the record label didn't like it. They said, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to go viral in 2012. So they shelved her. And the record label owned that song. And so when they never released it, Brit Smith didn't work out. She never popped. She didn't really become a known artist. She stepped away. I think she has a skincare cosmetic company that's kind of blowing up right now. So shout out to her. But like, she's not on the road doing concerts anymore. Or really, I don't think ever was. So fast forward 12 years later, here we are in 2024, and Jojo Siwa releases Karma. And so naturally, with the way of the internet, Jojo Siwa cannot theoretically be labeled or credited as a writer or a producer of the song Karma, because she isn't. She's just the person singing it. Essentially, Karma by Jojo Siwa is a cover. It is not her song. She did not write it. It was not written for her. It was not written by her. She changed 2 words in the song, and that's it. She added some ad-libs and a shit ton of auto-tune, and what we are hearing and what we are seeing Jojo Siwa promote is a cover of the song Karma's a Bitch by Brit Smith. Now, theoretically, you could take that same classification and call the Brit Smith version a cover as well, because it's not her song either. And that is 100% how the record label and the record label industry and the music industry as a whole essentially works for 90% of pop artists. When you hear people on the radio, 9 times out of 10, those songs that your kids are listening to were written by a team of other people and not the artist performing them. Now, once in a while on a blue moon, we have people like, Harry Styles, Taylor Swift, some maybe Beyonce. There's some artists that do write their own music, okay? You can go look on the credits. Taylor Swift has writer's credits on all of her music. Jojo Siwa has writer's credits on about 0% of her music, okay? So it's basically TikTok exposing how the record industry and the labels and the music industry works when it comes to the conglomerate of Jojo Siwa and breaking an artist and doing what you need to do to curate an entire album and release it in 2024. Like her next single, the one that's coming out, because she's done with Karma now. The fact that everyone's shitting on it, and like Brit Smith's out now. Brit Smith put her version of Karma on Spotify and Apple Music, and it's charting higher. It's charting higher than JoJo's version. So if you can only imagine how upset JoJo and her team of marketing experts and people who tell her what to do every day, how upset that they are that Brit Smith kind of popped back on the scene and TikTok took it that way. I mean, it's kind of, I'd be a little pissed. I'd be a little pissed because I'm sure they spent years planning this. They got the song 2 years ago. She recorded it for 2 years. They spent millions on the music video, promo, the Instagram page, the photos, the it's not for kids, a titty might pop out. It's Jojo Siwa. I'm an adult now. I've got the Gene Simmons look. It's black. It's dark. I'm an adult. It's Miley Cyrus bangers era, babe, and I'm here for it. I'm Jojo Siwa. Millions of dollars and hours of preparation and effort and marketing and budget and ads and everything spent on this relaunch of Jojo Siwa just for TikTok to choose the original artist, make that song go viral, and now the spotlight is on Brit Smith's version of Karma, and now Jojo Siwa has no choice but to pivot and start blasting the next song on the list, which we already know was written by a TikToker like 2 or 3 years ago. There's a TikToker who wrote her next single, and now that's just part of the record label's, like coalition. That's the one JoJo picked, and it's another song about her ex-girlfriend and what she did and how JoJo added an ad-lib onto it. And that's where we're at. That's the difference between Taylor Swift and Jojo Siwa. And we were never comparing the two, let's just be honest. But in this grand sense of the episode, I mean, it's kind of actually quite hilarious that Brit Smith has won the race. Like, could you imagine recording this 12 years later? And just so you're aware too, when Brit Smith didn't end up releasing the song Karma's a Bitch back in 2012, they then demoed it for Miley and she passed on it as well. And then Jojo Siwa picked it up. It's so fascinating to see how something as simple as a social media app like TikTok can just decide which direction to take your virality, whether it's in a positive light for you or someone else or a complete 180 or whatever road the algorithm and the people of the app decide to take your content is the way of the wave, and you just have to ride it. And it is so crazy to me that we chose the original artist 12 years later who has no business being here, no business being on interviews, no business being the upstaged one-hit wonder of Jojo Siwa's career. I mean, it It doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, this has happened before, but this rarely happens because most of the time we don't have a full song recorded with a music video to go along with it. Shout out to Brit Smith. It's a congratulations to you for whatever. If there's monetary value here, get it as quickly and as fast as you can because it'll go away in a second. And so I hope, I'm curious to see what happens next. Jojo Siwa claims she has no idea who Brit Smith is. And, why should she? She wouldn't. She wouldn't know who Brit Smith is. The writers and the producers and the team that is behind Jojo Siwa pitched Karma to her as an original piece of work made for Jojo Siwa. I mean, Jojo claimed that she changed the song Karma, like from the first draft to the version that we're now hearing. It's completely different. And like we changed so much stuff and we did all this stuff. And like the first iteration versus the live iteration, oh my gosh, you wouldn't even notice the difference. Like we changed it all. But it just so happens that the final version of JoJo's song is the exact same as Brit Smith's version. So I'm not sure if the marketing plan is mostly a lie. I don't know if it's all in. It's so cringe. Is cringe the word? I think cringe is the word. It's one of the cringiest things that I think we've seen in a very, very long time. And I'm so fascinated to see where this goes. It's blatantly clear. It's blatantly clear at this point that with just a little bit of research and a little bit of manpower, like Jojo Siwa's virality can be stripped away and won't last anywhere beyond what it is now based on the history and the track record and where everything's going. I want this to be done. I can't stand talking about it. It's like, actually, I have nightmares. I have literal nightmares about Jojo Siwa doing the dance.